Hello, everybody. It's Stephen and Walter here for another episode of So Chatty. It's episode 164 for November the 21st, 2024. Say hello, Walter.
Hello.
No, I said say hello, Walter.
Hello, Walter.
Okay. You have to say your own name? Can't remember it?
No.
All right. Happens at our age. So we have lots planned for you today, but before we get into the main event, we're going to talk a little bit about what we've been up to, and we haven't been up to that much, actually. We've been working on other things. Walter's been very busy lately. He's been planning out our trip in the spring to the Netherlands, and we'll talk more about that on Stephen and Walter Live on Sunday. So if you're interested, tune in for that. And just as a precursor and a teaser for all of that, we're going to be talking about something really quite, well, it has me a little pissed off. And you're going to say, well, what doesn't piss you off? And you're probably right. A lot of things. But that's because I'm a grumpy old man. And so is Walter. Yeah, you can see, look. Anyways, without further ado, let's take a look. Okay, you remember a couple of weekends ago, we were in a place called Trenton, east of us, and we had been invited to a Quilts of Valor Sew Day. And while we were there, we were all given a kit to put together a top for future Quilt of Valor quilts. And so Walter picked this kit, the colors, because we like blues. And so we worked on that, and we got 3/4 of the way through it. And I said, well, we'd take it home if that was all right with them, and we'd finish it. They said you didn't have to, they would do it. But I said, no, I'll take it home, finish it, and I intend to do the whole thing with it. I'm going to quilt it, bind it, all that kind of stuff. But when I was finishing it up, I thought, this is kind of a plain quilt for a Quilt of Valor.
Yeah, it didn't have any maple leaves in
No.
it. Yeah.
So I added the maple leaves. And the maple leaves, and I'll talk about how I did that. It's applique, but it's in the hoop applique. And I'll explain on the Idiot Quilter next week how I actually went about to create those. And a good thing that I did, because I removed 3 of the blocks from the center to put those maple leaves there, but I wasn't really planning to put them up in the corners until I was starting to put the rows together and realized we didn't have enough fabric to make the number of blocks we still needed. Even with the 3 that were missing, we were short a couple of blocks, and I didn't have any more of that fabric. I don't know, I guess we must have left behind, or didn't have enough in the kit for all the little square blue ones and gray ones in there and that.
Well, we did sew up all the blue ones and gray ones, but remember I said we had excess of the gray square, big squares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought those home.
Oh.
But those weren't in excess.
Okay.
Those should have had the other ones to go with it. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
How we missed that, or maybe there was a miscount in the package.
Yeah, that could be.
But anyways, that was a serendipitous moment for me, because that meant I made the corner blocks to fit into this with the maple leaves, which I think now gives a little bit more of a Canadian flavor. And I had some fabric here at home that we could use for the border. And I made a skinny border, an inner skinny border, and a little wider outer border. This is a big quilt. When we were putting it together, I didn't think it was going to be this big. Mm-hmm. But even without the borders, it was big. But it screams borders. It has to have borders to finish it off, the way I think. Anyways, I intend to also to break up the monotony, if you will, of this quilt. I'm going to use a maple leaf and swirl pattern that I've used on other quilts before, and I'll do it relatively densely. And if I pick I'm not sure what color I want for this. I'm thinking either a shade of blue, like a lighty navy blue kind of a color or something. I'll have to wait and see, or even might do a dark gray. I don't know. Have to wait and audition the threads to see. But I think if I make the quilting, and hopefully Lucy will cooperate, show up a little bit more so than what I usually do on most quilts, that will compensate for what I call the monotony of this quilt in it. But that's the plan. I'll show it to you whenever I get it done. I got to find a backing yet. I may have to order some backing because I don't know if I've got anything in my stash that is appropriate. So yeah. So anyways, that's what we've been up to. And that means some announcements. So Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, Wednesdays, 9 a.m. And the link's in the show notes below for that. If you still want to get a ticket for the quilt that I've donated to Hope Air, the link for that is in the show notes below as well. We're going to say more about some things we found out about Hope Air that don't make me happy at all. And we'll be talking about that on Sunday during the live because, quite frankly, I'm pissed off. Yeah, with Hope Air. Or as we're going to call it, Hopeless Air. Anyways, tune in for that. That should be lively. Okay, so Christmas came early for us. It is the 21st of November. And I'll tell you the background to this. I went into Walter's sewing room, which I do not do very often. Why? Because physically you can't get in there. You're taking your life in your hands when you try to walk across that floor because you don't know if you're going to be stepping in a pile of fabric or a pile of tools or a sewing machine. I don't know, because Walter...
Pile of pins.
The pile of pins. Because Walter has a filing system. He believes in utilizing all free space, whether it's on the floor or on the walls, all the time. So, just my way of saying his room looks like a hoarder's hall in there. So, when I was in there talking to him about something else, I don't know what I came in to talk to you about, but it was something, I happened to see his computer screen up.
Yeah, and I use a big TV set for my
So you come in and I noticed, wait, he's got fabric bundles sitting on that screen. What? Is he turned on to making a new quilt and he's getting some fabric for himself? And so I said to him, so what's with the fabric up on the screen? And he quickly downs the screen, goes, never mind, get out. His typical thing. So I said, you got me a Christmas present. And I said to him, I thought we agreed we weren't getting Christmas presents this year because really we are hard to buy for, both of us. And we're going away, going down to Dahlonega for the retreat. Don't really need Christmas gifts. And he made up some excuse.
It was an impulse buy.
And a sale or something. I don't know.
No, it was no sale. It was.
I thought it was a sale.
It was. I looked at fabric I thought was pretty.
Oh, okay, fine. Anyway, did you buy some for yourself?
Yes, I did.
Oh, he did. Okay, more on that later. So I went, shoot. Now I got to get you a Christmas present. He goes, no, you don't. I said, oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. And the problem is, it's not that I don't mind getting a Christmas present. Giving him a Christmas present is I don't know what to get him. And if you don't get him the right thing, he will let you know. Walter is not a gracious receiver of gifts. Okay? He's never learned that even if you hate it, you should keep your mouth shut. He doesn't. He goes, oh, I really didn't need that. Or, all right, have that. That has happened before. Or, yeah, okay, that's fine. And yeah, you've blown it. But I did know there was something he'd been looking at because, Walter's all into kitchenwares these days. I mean, we have a complete new set of pots and pans. We now have a complete set of very expensive chef-style kitchen knives that will, cut your throat just looking at them. And he wanted a knife sharpener. He had his eye on a knife sharpener. Now, this is not just a simple little $20 knife sharpener he's talking about. So, he wanted this very elaborate one. So we're sitting in the pharmacy waiting to get our RSV shot. And I said to him, what was the name of that sharpener you want? And he tells me. And I went on Amazon and there it was. And I said, that the one? He goes, yeah. I said, fine. It's coming tomorrow morning. It's in there. But I thought, I have not seen the fabric that he got me yet. I mean, I saw it up on the screen, but he put it down real quick and I didn't study it. And because my mind wasn't thinking about that at the time. And so I said, we're going to have an unboxing on So Chatty. And so we have right now, both of us, where's your bag? Got him in a Christmas bag. Yeah, I know. You're probably all going, but you know what he got you. Yes, but we're going to pretend surprise. So it's December 25th. Hey, Walter, look, Merry Christmas. I got you a gift. Walter, I got you a gift.
Okay, thank you.
You get me? You shouldn't have. Oh, my God. I'm so surprised. Oh, I didn't think you were going to give gifts this year. I thought it was really surprising. Okay, you open yours first. It's still in the Amazon box.
You got a knife for me to cut it open? Oh, I had scissors.
Here.
How's that work?
Well, they're scissors. You know how they work. Oh, you've never used scissors? How do you cut your fabric? Ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm shivering with anticipation. I actually haven't seen this yet, except on Amazon. This is the Amazon box. It came in.
You're useless. Give me a knife.
My God. There you go.
All right.
Let Mommy do it for you. I'll leave these out handy.
Yeah, you gotta do this side too.
This is kind of tough. There we go.
Oh.
Ooh, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it?
Ooh.
Ooh, it's styrofoam.
It's big.
Ooh, well, you know how we like them.
Ooh.
Ooh, look, it's got a plug. Oh my God.
That was upside down.
I'm so excited. Do you know what it is yet, Walter?
Ooh.
Are you surprised?
It's a knife sharpener. I can kill people with it.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't have got that for you because one of the people might be me. Ooh, look at that.
It's a knife sharpener.
Where the hell are we going to keep it?
I'm keeping it downstairs so that I can use it down here.
No. Oh, well, chef's choice. And how come there's so many slots in it, Walter?
Well, there's a knife sharpener,
Hold it
and
up.
then there's and each of the successive pieces are supposed to hone your knife and make it
Perfect.
perfect.
That's right. Will it sharpen scissors?
I don't think it does.
Oh, too bad.
Actually, there are ones that you can get that have scissor sharpeners in it, but they don't recommend that you use anything like cloth scissors in it.
Oh, no?
No, because I guess it doesn't do it good enough for cloth
okay.
scissors. It only does it. They tell you not to use hair scissors in it, and don't to use cloth scissors in it, like
Fabric scissors.
fabric scissors. They just tell you to use everyday general use scissors in it.
Oh, well, so much for that. Well, at least we'll always have sharp throat cutting knives.
Well, see, I didn't really need it right this second. That's why I was holding off, because the knives that I bought are still pretty sharp. It's only until they get dull.
I hit when the anvil's hot. I heard you say something that you wanted. I immediately went to work on it. And I spared no expense on it either. Oh, yeah, and by the way, like I said, it's not a $20 sharpener. It's more like almost $300 sharpener. So,
Oh, well, when you want sharp knives, you need to have something good.
yeah, well, I'll never use it.
I did a lot of research into which one I should get.
Okay, that stuff's squeaky.
I know it is.
Squeaky. Okay.
Okay,
Is it
anyway.
important that you put it back in the
No,
box?
I don't.
Because it's my turn. Oh, what? It feels soft. What could it be? What could it be? It's in a bag. In a bag. Ooh, it's Amazon. Ooh.
No, it's
it's not Amazon. Quilter's Cupboard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm so excited. Now, I have not seen what he bought me for fabric, so. Ooh, looks pretty. Bloody bag. Yay. Invoice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Well, we're pretty much even on what we spent. Oh, wait. Some of that was yours, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Oh. Oh, it's two Ooh, look.
They're half yard.
They look like
meter
Tula.
cuts. No, they're not Tula.
Vivid. Half-meter bundle. It was $86.99.
Mm-hmm.
Left the price tag on. Oh, look at. So pretty. So these are what? Half a yard each?
Yeah, half a meter each.
Half a meter. Yeah, half meter. Ooh, ooh, my color scheme. Very, very pretty, very pretty. And in this one,
They're fat quarters.
yeah, Prison 2 Fat Quarter Bundle. Ooh. That was $112.49. Ooh. Oh.
It's Jason Yenter.
Oh, I thought it looked familiar. Jason Yenter.
Not
Dan. I was thinking Dan Morris. Jason Yenter. Why is that name familiar?
Well, he's a designer. Actually, they look more bright. They look brighter online than they do in real life. But
well, actually, I like the color. Ooh, they're so special. I love them.
And even that's Jason Yenter too.
Ooh, okay.
It's hard to find him.
I have a new love, Jason Yenter. Is he cute?
No, not really. He's kind of bald head like me.
Yeah.
I think he's married to a woman too.
Ooh, ooh. No, don't tell me that. Well, that was Christmas early. Mm-hmm.
So now, are you happy with that?
Yes, I do. I love it's fabric. I'm always happy with fabric. I'm going to after we finish.
I bought this Fat Quarter bundle for myself too.
Oh, did you? Oh, what are you going to do with it?
I don't know yet.
I don't know. I'll have to find a special pattern for this.
Multicolored stuff.
I do too. So yes. So yeah. So after we're finished doing this video, I will be getting naked and rolling in it. Yes. Bye-bye. Okay. So enough Christmas fun. Let's get on with today's show. All right. So what we're going to do today, and just let me get something up on the screen for you to look at if I can find my cursor. There it is. It's always a pain with two screens trying to find a cursor. Okay, let's get rid of that. And let's go over. No, I didn't want to do that. Anybody has a Mac, you know they have a mind of their own. And it's trying to get it so it does what I want it to do. This is the one I want. And then I want to go all the way. Talk amongst yourselves. We'll give you a topic. Okay, I think I've just about got it. I'm still excited over Christmas. We may have peaked too soon. Okay, here we go, people. This is what our next series is on. We're going to do a freestanding gingerbread windmill. Now, we've talked in previous videos about that we like to make these kind of structures, and they're a combination of freestanding lace, freestanding applique, and in the way you build them, they stand up on their own. And we have created over the last few years several different Christmas village type structures, gingerbread ones. And in a few weeks' time, when I get out my Christmas decorations, I'll be showing you those again. But this is a new one to their collection. This is from Scissor Tail Stitches. I have a link for it in the show notes below. I think they're on sale right now. And it's basically Scissor Tail Stitches is a subsidiary of OESD. So, yeah, if you just put into I have the link, but if you put into Google freestanding gingerbread windmill, it'll take you right to where this is at. So, are they complicated? Yes, to a point, especially if it's the first time you've ever done anything like this. But definitely once you've done one, and I suggest you start out with something that's a little more simple than this to get the feel, because once you've done one, they all go together in the same way. However, you do get instructions with them, and that's what this is. And the instructions are 43 pages long. Yeah, there's a lot of instructions. However, that's made up of a lot of diagrams and pictures and things like that, and some other information. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through this pattern very quickly, and then we're going to tell you we're not going to do what they say, because we don't like how they do it. We have our own way of doing it. But if you want to do it this way, it's fine. But I think there's a whole lot of unnecessary steps that they take you through, and they're also selling you a lot of products. So
yeah, so they have two things here. That one of the things is that they want to sell you more stuff.
Yeah, and OESD, which Scissor Tail Stitches is part of, is famous for that. Is trying to sell you thread bundles and stabilizer bundles. So if you look over here, they like to use Isocore thread. Now, I have never used Isocore, but I've always heard good things about it. It's a premium thread. The only reason I've never used Isocore is because we can't readily get it here. I can order it online, but you know, I have Floriani, and that's what I use. And Walter uses Super B.
Yeah, and I sometimes use Floriani as well.
Yeah.
So
So we'll be using Floriani. Now, one advantage of this particular pattern is there's not that many thread colors. They tell you here white, tan, geranium, rose, island waters, but you are perfectly, you can change out the colors to suit your needs. And we'll show you the colors we've picked. Actually, I'll show you the colors we've picked right now.
well, what's geranium? Is that a green?
That's just another red. There's two, they've got two shades of pink and red in it. Sorry, it's red. Where's the red? I do have a red. I pulled up.
See if I have a red that's similar to the one you have.
Didn't I pull up a red for us?
No.
I thought I'd pulled up the reds.
Said it was just that and white.
Oh, well, no, we need the red too. But anyways, we will grab in the red that I thought I had both. You sure I didn't give you both spools?
No, I got blue, pink, and brown from you.
Okay. Well, anyways, just for the sake of, this is not the red that we're going to use, but
that looks like orange.
It's got it, yeah, actually under this like this. We'll have like a fire truck red, okay, with it, and we're going to use. There's some pink in it, and there's a little bit of blue, and this is the color we chose, and of course it's a gingerbread house, so this is for the edges, the brown, and they call it tan on here. And like I said, red and pink they have, and then the blue is island waters, and of course you need white as well. All right, but over here is the one that really is the killer, which if this is your first time doing one of these type of projects, you would definitely be thrown off by this because you think, oh my god, I have to buy all this. No, you don't. They want you to use Aquamesh wash away, Badge Master wash away, Stable Stick cutaway, Applique Fuse and Fix, and Fiber Form. We're not. We're using one stabilizer and one stabilizer only, and that is water soluble from Monfil. That's all you need.
Now, I think that's the equivalent to what they have as Aquamesh. Right
yeah.
Away, eh?
But they have these other ones, Badge Master and Stable Stick. They have Badge Master. I'm not really sure why. Badge Master is used if you're making, like it says, badges. So I don't know why they list that in here. Stable Stick Cutaway is a sticky stabilizer because they have you go through and print out pieces of paper as guides. You don't need to do that. We'll explain why not when we get there. They have Applique Fuse and Fix, which is another sticky product for sticking down your fabric into your hoop. You don't need that. And we'll show you what we do. And then they have Fiber Form. Fiber Form they're using is just, it's sort of like if you were making a bag, a tote bag, and you were going to use something like Deco Bond. It's not as thick as Deco Bond, but it's a stiffener. It's a stiff type of stabilizer because this is going to be standing up when you put it all together. All of that is covered by using water-soluble stabilizer that we get from Monfil or anything else, because you can control how much of the stabilizer you rinse away. So if you want something to be stiff, you don't wash out or rinse away as much of it. And when it dries flexible, but it dries stiff so that it works with that. So all that other stuff you don't need. And all of those things that are up there, if you didn't have any of those in your supply, are going to cost you some money. Quite a bit of money, actually. I dare say it would probably cost you to buy small rolls of that stuff close to $100 if you bought every one of them. So that makes this an expensive project, but you don't need it. Fabrics. Okay, well, these you do need fabrics. Again, they have some fabrics. They've now gotten into selling fabrics. And they have, if you see up here, oops, sorry, I got to switch over. You don't see it up here. If you see up here under fabrics and textiles, they want brown quilter's cotton, 1/4 yard. Well, that's not hard to do. And this is what we have picked. This is for the gingerbread walls and roof and all that kind of stuff. So this is what we have.
Yeah, so when we were talking earlier, they also show you the stabilizers. Weren't showing it on the screen below, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
not. Sorry about that. I forgot to switch over the camera. Yeah, stabilizers are up. These are the ones I was talking about at the top up here.
And the thread colors and everything.
And yeah,
else.
that's well, I think I had it up there when I did
No,
that.
you didn't do that.
Oh, I didn't do that either. Okay, fine. Well, if you're going to be
I know. I just realized it myself. I usually notice that.
Okay, never mind. So, we're using the brown for the walls, the structure. The red, they're suggesting this Luxe Sparkle vinyl. We're not using vinyl in this. Now, you can if you want to, but basically, as I drop things on the floor, basically, this is the red that we're going to be using. And this, you need a very small amount of this because all it does is go in the door at the front.
Like, I mean, I suppose that if they wanted to use sparkle stuff, it gives it a little bit more sparkle.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's totally up to you.
So I mean, that's totally up to you. And you don't necessarily have to buy theirs. You can go and you can get some Mylar, or you can get regular vinyl at one of your craft stores if you wish. And they also want you to use white Luxe Sparkle vinyl. Well, that's for some of the snow treatments that are on it. And we're just using, I have a couple of fat quarters of white that have a little light pattern. Maybe better this way. A little light pattern in it. And that'll work. And I think this little light pattern is actually sort of a floral, sort of leafy thing. But it looks like snow. Like, you know, it's got a little texture to it. So that'll work too. And that's all. So you need brown, red, white. Which is nice on one of these patterns because that means that you don't have to be little pieces all over the place all the time. Then they talk about notions, back here, notions and tools. Alligator clamps, button clips. Alligator clamps, yes, we use those. And we have shown you a video previously.
I don't use those, but
I do, to hold it together. All it does is, and you'll see it when we assemble it, it helps to hold things together as you're putting other pieces together.
I'll stick pins through it. And
well, you can do pins as well with it, or you can use binder clips as well. But I like the alligator clips. And alligator clips are cheap. And you can buy them on OESD, or you can go on Amazon and get a huge bag.
Or you can buy them at your local hardware store.
Yeah, or something like that. They're not hard to get. I don't know what they mean by button clips.
I'm not sure either.
That I have no idea. Expert embroidery tape tear away. Sometimes you have pieces of fabric when it's stitching out that may get in the way and you don't want them underneath your needle, your foot. Masking tape works fine. In fact, I think masking tape works better than these embroidery tapes because they tend to not stick. I find they're not said. So you'll see it when we do it, how we use that. Then they've got expert embroidery tape wash away. That is another feature that you don't need. They're just selling you product. The perfect punch tool. That's because you need to punch. Sometimes the eyelets, they get a little sewn over and you have to punch through them. Well, or into the structure itself to put it together. If you've got an awl,
or
that's all you
stiletto
need.
or
stiletto awl, interchangeable. That'll work fine, not a problem. That's what we use. Perfect embroidery press cloth. No, don't need it. Grippy grid. Don't need it. 1/4 inch dowel to 5 inches long. I'm not sure what that's for.
I think that's for the windmill part.
Oh, yeah.
So we might need that.
Yeah, well, I've got some of that. I bought it at the dollar store a long time ago. Came in a little tube with a bunch of different ones. So that. Embroidery needle sharp 7511. Well, it's whatever you use in your embroidery machine.
I don't think you have to be picky as to which kind.
And I don't know why they want a ballpoint.
It says for the freestanding lace. I don't know why.
Yeah, why would you use... We don't...
One's for freestanding applique, one's for freestanding lace. I use the same, and it's both of them are sharp.
Yeah. And you don't need to be going back and forth changing needles all the time.
No.
And then they've got their Isocore colors. So basically, we're going to show you how to do this without having to spend a whole lot of money on the stuff you want. Now, it doesn't mean that we're cheaping out. We find this works the best for us. I dare say they're just trying to sell product. Then they have a summary of what all the pieces look like, because there are multiple pieces, and they have them all numbered. Then those numbers will come up in your embroidery machine, as you will see, so you'll know what piece you're working on. But it's sort of like a map here, in a way to keep track of what pieces you need. Also, if you notice, in this particular one, they name the piece, and they like, this is the bottom side wall. Freestanding applique is what FSA stands for, the number of the part, and then it says requires one design. So you're only making one of these. But sometimes you have to make two of something, except in this particular pattern, we're only making one of everything you see on there. But other patterns might have, like, two walls might be the same, so they'll say you need two. So be sure to read something like this. And this is a good visual of what all the pieces are going to look like when you get them done. Now they have these general instructions for putting things together, and this is where they get so complicated. And they talk about printing out from the files these, essentially these templates, although they're not really a template. They're just a placement holder. And you use the applique fuse and fix to each of them. Like you put, sort of like using Steam-A-Seam. And so you print it on there, and then you glue it down, and then you're going to stick it in the hoop, and you're going to cut them out, and you're going to
One thing I do notice on this pattern is it's like it prints the windows separate.
Does it?
Well, I don't know. Look at the pattern thing. It's got all those.
Oh, yeah, so it does. I have no idea though why, because it's in the, I've already looked at the files on the embroidery machine, and they're standard. So yeah, there's a lot of confusing information in here that you can ignore. But I'm just showing this to you quickly. I'm not going through it step by step, but showing you how many steps there are for creating the pieces through this. And this is intimidating. And then here, this is the assembly instructions, and we'll show you how to do that. Another thing you may want to have is a set of alligator hemostats, and we'll talk more about those when we get to it. It makes grabbing the little eyelets that you're going to pull, or the little buttonettes that you're going to pull through eyelet holes, much easier. So there's a lot of steps. And then they've got the punch tool guide where you're going to have to put in holes. That's where these red dots are up in here. This is where you can use an awl or a stiletto. It's just as easy. You don't need to buy special punch for that. Then they've got printing instructions for printing out those pieces, how to do it, getting the right size. It goes on for days and days and days and days and more days until you get to the end. You don't need any of that stuff at all, and you'll see why. So, are we going to use these instructions? No, we are not. We are going to use something else that came with the pattern, or with the files, and that's this PDF file. And this shows you in a very simplified format each piece and lists each thread change and tells you what it is. So there's only 8 thread changes for this, but we'll see how that affects the timing. Not necessarily does it mean that because something has less thread changes that it's going to be faster than other pieces. It all depends on how intricate things are. But this gives you a sense here of what we're using for our colors. Here's our background brown. That's on a wall. This is the bottom side wall. And then we're using blue and pink in the window frames. We're using white, which is freestanding lace, for the windows themselves, the glass panes, and for the snow, and snow down here. And yeah, in this particular piece, there isn't any other applique. Well, there might be. I don't know if that, no, those aren't applique. Those are all embroidery. And these little things you see up here at the top and on the sides, those are what are called buttonettes, and they are used to go through the holes that you will punch to hold everything together. And so you just follow this along. But we'll show you what that looks like on the screen of the embroidery machine. And so they go through each one. And this is what we're going to be following. And the advantage of this is you can look ahead to prepare your colors, and you can check off as you get each thing done. So that's how you read it. That's the equipment that you need. So we're going to go over to the machine. We're going to switch cameras for this. And I'm going to take you through what it looks like when you pull up the files onto your embroidery machine and how to interpret them. And then we're going to start doing the very first piece, which is the bottom side, the one I just showed you at the beginning. And we're not going to take you through it all. We'll get it started, and then I will be fast forwarding it so you can get a sense of how it all puts together. And then we'll come up and summarize anything else we need to tell you that we may have forgotten to tell you. And next week, we'll be showing you all the pieces being created with it. But we'll do that in very fast motion with it as well. So we're going to switch cameras right now. Okay, so we're over here at our 550E, Janome 550E embroidery machine, and this is the screen. I've already loaded the file into it, and this is the first piece that we're going to stitch out. So I want to point out a few things about what you're seeing on the screen. First of all, it tells you up here what hoop we're using. We are using one of the smallest hoops. It's not the absolute smallest one that comes with the machine, but it's not a big one. It's only about a 5-6 inch square hoop, and it's called the SQ14B. If you have a 550E, that's what it would be called. You would use the equivalent on whatever machine you are using. We are stitching this out at the slowest speed because that's just me. I can go as high as 800 stitches per minute. I choose to go to the lowest because of some bad experiences in the past. Walter tends to do it at the fastest speed because he hasn't had those experiences. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. It tells me here that this is going to take 63 minutes to complete. So these projects are not fast. So if you're thinking you're going to whip one up the day before Christmas Day because you're going to give it to a gift for somebody, no, you're not. No, you're not. Okay? Give yourself lots of time, because that doesn't include the time it's going to take you to rethread your machine for each thread.
Each color
or
change.
each color change that you have as well. Down here, it is showing all of, it started, our machine shows 3 at a time, and we can go down, and there are a total of 8 color changes, as it says up here. So numbers 1 through to 8, and it's giving you a color that may or may not correspond to what you want to use. Don't really worry about those. So we're back here at number 1, and but you see, I'm seeing everything right here, but I just want to see what number 1's going to be. So there is a way to do that. I push this button up here, and now I get what the first stitching out is going to be. Now this is what we call, and I have over here that chart that I showed you before, and they're saying fiber form and brown fabric. Now what they mean by that is I've already hooped up 2 layers of wash away stabilizer, and I've got black thread in my needle. I don't have to use black. I could use any color, okay, for this, because you're not going to see these. This is to print an outline for placing and for tacking down the fabric. So I've cut a piece big enough. I was fairly generous in my cutting. I could have got away with less, but I didn't. And I'm just going to put this down, and away it's going to go. Now you just want to make sure, and it's not a good idea to use your hands, that none of this wrinkles on you. So it is basically drawing out here, and you can see you can follow the path on your screen because it's got a little set of crosshairs right here that follow it around. So this is a wall that it's building. Thread's in my way, but I'll cut it out later. I should have stopped the machine before I went ahead with that and cut it then, but I have a tendency to live on the edge. Doesn't matter. Cut it here. And now it's just the placement of the two windows. So now once this is finished, now I just realized something. I made a mistake, but it's not a major mistake. You'll notice on the screen we now have the same outline, except if you look closely, it's a double line. This is what they call a cut line and tack down. So I technically have already tacked down my fabric. What I should have done is before I put the fabric on, and this isn't totally my fault, it was the way they wrote it in the instructions. They had here fiber form and brown fabric. What they should have said was that this was an outline for those fabrics. Then you lay those down on top of it, and then you do the cut line and tack down, which I'll do now. And essentially, it's just going to go over top of the fabric, make sure it's secure. But because I already secured it,
Yeah, because the way they're doing in their pattern is they sort of want you to cut it out before you
Yeah.
place it. Whereas what you're doing it all in one.
yeah. But that's okay because this is going to work. Now this is going to go around twice. And then what will happen is when this is finished, I'm going to take it out of the hoop and I'm going to trim it. It's an applique. Right. So I'm going to use not those ones. Right ones here. Ouch. As I bend over and kill myself. Where am I? There they are. These are what I'm using.
Your applique scissors.
Yeah, they're applique. They call them duckbill scissors.
And actually the brand that you're using right now is Quilter Select.
Yeah, Quilter Select. But you can get whatever brand.
Yeah, they come in different brands.
Yeah. They're not a cheap tool. They usually run you around $40, $45 for a pair. You might get them somewhere cheaper, but you want to buy good quality
$45
ones.
Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian. You want to buy good quality ones, though, because you are going to use them a lot. And you want something that's sharp enough to really cut your fabric easily. And I'll show you the process for that in just a second, once this is finished doing this. So it just has one more round to go around this window. And then we can stop the machine. The machine will stop itself, actually, before the next step, but to pull it out and trim it. Okay, so it's all done. I'm going to take it. Now I'm taking the whole hoop out. You're not taking the fabric out of the hoop, so be careful about that. You don't want it to pop out. Some people will trim it in the hoop. I don't like that because I find it's too cumbersome. Let's get rid of this thread here. We don't need that. So I'm taking these and I'm just cutting up, but not cutting into that outside sewn line. And you just sort of lay your scissors along the side of it. And if you pull on the fabric a little bit, not so much that you'll pull it out of the hoop. You don't want to do that. But it helps you to get it nice and close. And you want it as close as you can possibly get it to those threads without cutting them. Because you don't want fabric hanging out underneath the satin stitch that'll eventually go over this. This is why I say you need good duckbill applique scissors. Now, that's a little extra there we don't need. So there we go. Sometimes if there's a lot of little fibers I've been cutting off on here, and they're all over it, I'll use just a lint brush, one of those sticky roller ones, and pick up the pieces. But I'm okay here. So now we can return this.
Do you have to cut out your windows?
Oh, yes. Forgot about that. Yes, we have to cut out the windows. So you just get it started with the point of the scissors.
And try not to cut through your stabilizer.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be tricky. Usually I don't have a lot of problem, of course, because I'm on camera. All right, here we go. I got it started. Now, if I had accidentally cut into my stabilizer, doesn't mean I have to start all over again. I would just take another little piece of stabilizer and float it underneath the hoop, under that spot I cut, and when it stitches over top of it, it'll be fine. Okay, so there's one. To be honest, I enjoy doing this, cutting the pieces out. I don't know why. Something therapeutic about it, I guess. Okay, all cut out. We're going to return it to the machine. Now, it says in this next step, and it shows you, it wants you to do the little, what they call buttonettes. I think they refer to them, buttonettes, and line work. Line work means, and it's hard probably on the camera to see this, but there's some embroidery work along the top piece here. So they want you to use, and it indicates it in the color there, they want you to use the brown color or the tan color that you're using to go on directly onto that material. So I need to grab...
Sorry, my camera work seems to be a little wonky today.
We'll stop being wonky. Got the shakes, old man?
Yeah.
So I'm going to thread my brown color. Normally I would have these already pre-set up on here, and then I wouldn't have to go and unravel it and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't today because I want to show you those spools before I put them on, and I could have stopped the camera and done that, but I didn't. But it only takes a second. Now the question might be, am I using a matching bobbin color? Nope, I'm using white. Why? Because these pieces are all going to be put together and no one's going to see inside. So it doesn't matter. You don't need to do that. But I think in their instructions, they will tell you to wind a bobbin for every color you're going to be using. Don't worry about it. And of course, we use pre-wound bobbins that come from Monfil, but you can get them from other places too. I never wind a bobbin for my embroidery machine. I always use the pre-wound. It's just easier. You have to worry about tension or anything like that. So we've got it already put in there. So here we go. We hit start. Now I'm just stopping it so I can clip that thread. I'm doing it the right way. If you weren't watching me, I would just do it with it was still running. You shouldn't do that, because you could stitch your hand to your piece and that wouldn't be good. So it's drawing out and filling in the buttonette, which you will see how those are used for holding things together when we come to the assembly. Now we are not going to do this whole thing on camera in real time, because right now there's 60 minutes left. It's going to take an hour to finish this up. I'm just letting you see the first couple of steps so you get an idea for it, because essentially this procedure you just saw me do here is exactly the same procedure you're going to do for every piece. It's just a question of the shape and which threads you're using. and it tells you that in the guide. So in the next one after it's done this, it's going to do something called the lace detail. And the lace detail is, I believe, is these things that you see here in white. All of these little pieces in white. I don't know if it's they're going to do, no, and then the windows will come after that. So, yeah. So you just follow your little chart. It might help too if you write next to each one of these things in your chart the actual color you are using. And that'll keep you straight, because you want to be consistent with all of the other pieces too. So, you know, for example, these buttonettes and this trim here.
Well, actually, in this particular example, you don't have that many colors you have to keep track of, so it's not that difficult to follow. But in some freestanding lace projects that you do, you have many different colors, and so
so it's, you know, you'll want to keep a record of it. Now, we've gone now to the fourth change, and you're showing they're doing the windows. Now, they were talking about, they called it the lace detail, but
that's that lace stairs. The I think the white stuff on the outside is a further step.
Yeah, you mean
it says cover stitch and wall detail is here.
But I mean, here's where and they're showing pink for windows and wall detail.
Yeah, which is on top of the windows, right?
Right, but what we're stitching, we're stitching 4 here, lace detail, so that's the underneath part, is what they're talking about. So it can get a little confusing. You have to sometimes...
Yeah, because see here, it just shows you what they're stitching.
So it's just showing you the windows and the snow underneath, and that means we need to use the white. So again, we're going to switch our threads, and I happen to have, because white is a standard in a lot of things, white and black, so I buy them on big spools, and I have them always sitting here up the side on... I have extra spool holders off to the side of my embroidery machine so that the colors I use the most are there. I don't have to go hunting for them all the time. That's just my little tip and trick. Although you want to make sure if you're using a freestanding spool holder that your thread does not get near your flywheel, because if it gets caught inside, ask me how I know. That can be disastrous. Okay, unthread it, away we go. Now you see, I said you don't have to worry about the fact what color I used when I did the tack down on this, because this will eventually get covered up. There'll be satin stitches that go over top of that in another color, so don't worry about that. But now what it's doing is it's filling in the window, and then it's going to go around the outside of that window, and then it's going to go to this window and do the same, and then it's going to do some snow detail down here. So I think this would be a good point at this to just shut off the video and come back to this when we're closer to the end of finishing this piece.
Okay, so that's what we'll do.
So I'm finished doing the embroidery and I've taken it off the machine and I've trimmed very carefully around the outside of the piece. And you want to be careful because if you cut into the stitches, then you're going to have to start all over. You're not going to be able to rescue that piece. So now I've filled up a sink with a little bit of warm water and I'm just going to put this in and let it sit here for about 20-30 seconds. That's all. I just want to move it around and get the excess stabilizer off of it, but I want to leave some of it in the piece because that's going to be my stiffening agent. Okay, I've got it done. Now I'm going to take it out and show you what I do next. Okay, I've laid my piece now onto a double layer of paper towels and I'm just laying it flat, just patting it in, and I'm going to put more paper towel on top and I'm just giving it a light press. And because it's over by my iron, I can do this. I just hit it with a little steam. This is just to encourage the drying process. So take it off the towel, and I'm just going to lay it here on my pressing mat. You can lay it on any surface you like. Just pressing it down, and I'm going to let it sit there and air dry. And once it is air dried, and this will take, an hour, a couple of hours maybe, I like to make sure it's thoroughly dry. And then I'm going to hit it again with the steam iron just to flatten it out because it will curl a little bit. And that's that piece done. And you'll see how stiff it is when I show you the other pieces later on. Okay, so that's how simple it is to put it together. You do the same thing for every piece. So next week, what we're going to be doing before next week is we'll be each doing so many of the pieces. We're going to divide up the project. Walter's going to do it on his embroidery machine. I'm going to do it on my embroidery machine. And we're going to do some intermittent videos of both, and I'll put those all together for you to see that. And we'll talk about anything we have discovered along the way. If we make a mistake, we will talk about that. If our machine for some reason gives us a problem, we'll talk about that too. Hopefully the machines will not give us a problem on projects like this. And we'll show you what the end result is. So that next week we'll have all the pieces done by the end of the video. And the week after that we assemble the whole thing. And we'll show you how that all works together. So this is a 3-part series. The first part we've just done, 2 more to go. So I hope you can join us for that. If you have any questions about what we're doing, be sure to put them in the comments below or send directly to me an email, and we will try to the best of our ability to answer any questions you may have. So I guess we'll see you next week then. And don't forget, this coming Sunday, Stephen and Walter live at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be talking about something that's very, in our minds, very controversial. And it has to do with charities, but it has to do in particular with what I've learned from a donation to a charity like Hope Air. And you've heard me talking about Hope Air. We learned something. We're going to share it with you. Okay, we're going to go. Have a good week. We'll see you later. Say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye, Walter.